I went to Cairo in December 2015. And the December part matters because I assumed that a country like Egypt, with its deserts and palm trees, would be scorching hot all year round, even in December. But it isn't, really. The winters can be quite mild in Cairo, basically put on a sweatshirt type weather. The hotel we stayed in was quite empty, as tourism in Egypt at the time had kind of taken a decline in recent years. We arrived at the hotel at night, checked into our rooms, and the hotel was kind of built in a U shape with the pool and lounge area in the middle, as is the layout with a lot of hotels and resorts. Shortly after arriving, I looked out of the window, saw that there was a pool, and made an immediate plan to hit that first thing tomorrow. After breakfast the next morning, I got ready with the whole kit: swimming shorts, goggles, towel, went down to the lobby, headed past reception towards the double doors that went out to the pool, when I suddenly heard a voice. My friend? It was the receptionist. He asked me where I was going. I told him I was going to the pool, although I thought it was clear from the towel around my neck, goggles strapped to my forehead, and swimming shorts with a floral pattern that looked like the sky in SpongeBob SquarePants where I was going. I figured he was probably just being friendly or making conversation. Oh, he said, changing tone. The pool is very cold. This kind of surprised me. What do you mean? I asked. It's very cold outside. The pool is cold. How cold is it? Just then, a man walked by who you could tell just by looking at was a swimming pool lifeguard guy of some sorts. He was mildly overweight, wearing a polo shirt, and had a whistle around his neck. The receptionist called him over, and the two of them began conversing in Arabic as I glanced outside. The sun seemed to be shining, and the sky was clear. Where I come from, they call that good weather. How cold could it be? The receptionist turned back to me. 12 degrees, he said after conferring with the swimming pool lifeguard type. The water, 12 degrees. I immediately felt relieved. 12 degrees? Psh, that's nothing. In London, 12 degrees Celsius is considered normal. 12 degrees is probably cold in Cairo, but I'm from a different kind of place where 7 out of 12 months is basically jacket wearing weather. I'll be fine, I thought. I'm used to it. I think I'll be fine, I said. I'm used to it, as I exited the double doors with the receptionist and the pool guy both making the "all right, but don't say we didn't tell you so" face. As soon as I went outside, I suddenly felt the chilly air. It was a little colder than I had expected. It's no big deal, I thought. I put my towel down onto one of the many empty deck chairs and looked out over the perfectly still, gleaming water that was begging to be cannonballed into. Now, at this point, you can probably tell that I'm a little bit of a risk taker, maybe to a fault. But even someone who lives life more on the edge would, after being given a warning by two men who work at the hotel about the pool being too cold to swim in, at least crouch down and put, a hand or at least a finger into the water to check the temperature before getting in. But no, that's not what I did. I just dived straight in, with all the confidence in the world, and I paid for it immediately. The water was freezing cold. Turns out 12 degrees actually feels quite painful when you're in a pool with basically only shorts on. I'm not sure of the science here of why 12 degrees in the air seems fine, but 12 degrees in the water feels as cold as ice. But all I can say is that it felt like I just jumped into some Norwegian fjord from some tourism advert that had been filled with liquid nitrogen. It felt like there were 1,000 needles piercing my skin as I kicked hard to the surface and rushed to the edge of the pool to pull myself out. I sat there shivering while I heard laughter behind me. It wasn't the receptionist nor the pool guy. It was my brother, who had quite smartly sat out the morning swim and decided to stay in the room and watch me from the balcony. His cackling laughter echoed across the deserted hotel as I rubbed my arms to get warm. Then, around 10 minutes later, I went for another swim. I'm not sure what the point of that story is. Maybe it's got the same moral as that old quote: if at first you don't succeed, try again. Because the second time I got back in that pool, I was prepared for how cold the water really was, and I was able to keep swimming for a whole minute before feeling like it was getting too cold and I had to come out again. Had I gone for a third swim, I might have even been able to do a couple of minutes. Then the next time, 5 minutes, and so on, until I probably ended up with either a new world record of some sort or hypothermia or both. So, just maybe, what we can learn from my idiotic shenanigans in some swimming pool in Egypt is that sometimes you don't succeed first time. Some things need more than one try. Or here's another better story I heard once that basically has the same moral but articulated it in a much better way. A man is at the zoo and he goes to see the elephants. He arrives at the enclosure to see something mind blowing. The elephants, enormous and graceful as elephants are, were each attached by one leg to a post by a rope. A rope that was so skinny and fragile looking that the elephants could very easily break and go free. So the man sees this and he calls over the zookeeper. He asks the zookeeper why the elephants don't just break out when they could incredibly effortlessly, given their size and strength versus the string-like nature of the rope. And it's here that the zookeeper explains. The zookeeper tells the man that the elephants are tied with these ropes since they're babies. And the rope is strong enough to hold a baby elephant, so when they grow up, they still have that belief that they aren't strong enough to break through the rope, even though they already are. At some point in their lives, they give up trying to break the rope and just let it hold them, even though they are a mighty elephant that could not only destroy that tiny rope, but also pretty much any wooden fence that is holding them back and escape into the sunset.